editor of the Urbana Courier said it best in an editorial in 1917. Some men say that amusement is silly, frivolous, and wrong, but I am not one of that kind. Perhaps the reason that some men don't get on better, have better health, have better jobs, and more friends may be that they are grinders. We in this terrible, tense world need to let go. In the 1850s, although Urbana had only a few hundred people, its citizens still found ways to let go after a long day of work. Although theater troupes and traveling lecturers came to town, as often as not, amusement centered around a competition. Moses Harvey, a local contractor, wrote down in his account book on May the 12th, 1851,
"Seen Abe Lincoln run a foot race with Samuel Waters from Main Street to Walnut Street in front of the courthouse. Abe beat."
The building gives us a microcosm of ever-changing ways in which the hard-working people of Urbana managed to let go. Busey's Hall was one of the first brick buildings constructed in the city, erected in 1870 with a magnificent public hall on the second floor. At first, that hall was used as an opera house, a dance studio, a stage for traveling theater troupes, live animal shows, a roller skating rink, and a lecture hall. The bank offices of Samuel and Simeon Busey were on the ground floor. Entertainment was changing, however, in the early 20th century as motion pictures replaced live entertainment in popular tastes. In response, Simeon Busey's son-in-law, Gus Freeman, transformed the ground floor of this building into the Princess Theater in 1915. 19 years later, the Alger Brothers bought the Princess to add to their growing chain of theaters. They faced a new challenge, the talkies. Many theaters, doomed by the costs involved in sound conversion, went out of business even before the Depression hit. By 1932, box office revenues had declined 25% as Americans turned on the radio and abandoned the theater. The answer was to turn moviegoing into an experience and the theater into a picture palace. The Alger Brothers changed the old hall into an imposing structure of semi-modernistic design, as a local newspaper described it. It also featured a new sound system because, as Harold Alger said, the most beautiful movie house in the world without efficient sound would not attract patrons. The new Princess opened in September 1934 with Fog Over Frisco, a mystery starring Bette Davis. For the next half-century, it was the place to see a movie. Urbana's Roger Ebert gave The Princess a big thumbs up, recalling his boyhood days in the 50s. For 5 or 6 years of my life, Saturday afternoon at the Princess was a descent into a dark, magical cave that smelled of jujubes, melted dreamsicles, and Crisco in the popcorn machine. It was one of those Saturday afternoons that I formed my first critical opinion, deciding vaguely that there was something about John Wayne that set him apart from ordinary cowboys. The Princess was jammed to the walls with kids every Saturday afternoon. But then TV came to town, and within a year, the Princess was no longer an institution. As happened in previous generations, tastes changed. A new generation turned to video rentals, and then the internet as a way to let go, and the theater lost its audience. Closed for a time, it reopened as the cinema, showing second-run movies, but the theater closed for good in 1994 and was converted into a cinema gallery in 2001.